I want to worry about building my business and worry about how I'm going to build generational wealth for my family and how I'm going to build a fucking massive whiskey business and a massive ServPro business and a massive training business and a massive podcast and a massive lifestyle brand so I can help me and all my friends become successful, pass on knowledge and success. Like, that's what I want to do. And I shouldn't have to sit here and worry, is that future even a fucking option anymore?
This is about control. Everybody knows. Everyone complies. We're the kinds of pros. I don't need a plane. I just hit the road. I do what I want. I can't sell my soul. Market about to crash. This is what you chose. Ruining the country. I think that's the goal. You gonna take the mark. I take narrow roads. I'm a man of God. I can never fold.
We're just gonna record a podcast.
You just want to wing it?
Yeah. Sick of looking at Ian's fucking depressed face over there. His little puppy dog face.
Mm-hmm.
That's a short.
Let's fucking go. Welcome to the Protect Your Purpose podcast, where we talk whiskey, business, friends, family, and freedom. I'm your host, Matt Marchese, and this is my co-host, Zach, Mr. Bad Timing Grady. Yeah. And the shitty influence that he is. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, what's up, dude?
How you doing today? I know how you're doing.
Well,
because I've been with you for the last hour. I know exactly how you're doing, but tell the audience how you're doing today, Zach.
I'm okay. Cash, on the other hand, not so much.
Tell the audience
You can't
what happened,
send me
Zach.
to my room, Matthew.
You're fucking lucky I can't send
I thought
you
we
to
were
me.
getting sent to our rooms. I'm not going to lie.
So we had a bright idea to try to film a TikTok on Matt's behalf. That Matt did.
A TikTok?
That had no.
I didn't know that's what you were doing. You were filming a TikTok.
Well, if it would have been funny.
If there was laughs, it was going to be a TikTok.
Turns out there was no laughs.
There was
So-
zero laughs.
I guess the trend was a while ago when kids would mouth off to their parents and the other parent would be recording it. It was an actual trend. We didn't just make this up. So we thought it'd be funny for Cash to do that to Matt as he came downstairs for the podcast, and it wasn't funny. That's where the bad timing comes in.
That's
Matt's
where
had a rough-
Zach, Mr. Bad Time, and Ian, both of us.
Ian
but
was there.
I was there.
Ian was part of it.
I'm just as much as
Kaysen
at
got
fault.
sent to his room just for being there.
He did. That's why I thought we were getting sent to our rooms too.
Collateral damage.
Yeah.
Jason's like watching the whole thing. And then,
Listen,
yeah, Matt's had a rough morning. So
it's not a rough morning. Okay,
it wasn't a rough morning. It was,
here's the deal.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Well, talk also about what, because we have someone who's not here, so that's part of the morning too, right? Because the people don't know
Yeah.
why there's a big gap in the middle right now.
Welcome to the show, honey.
My sometimes lovely
Okay,
wife,
thank you.
Lindy.
My
What did she say?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
No,
Hi,
no,
thank you.
no,
Hi, thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Hey.
It's not. It's all the things, man.
Yeah.
It was, first of all, my son is 13, and he is at a very moldable, impressionable age where his decision making is not always where it needs to be. So I'm working on that with him.
Do you want us to help?
That was our plan.
And the two adults.
we wanted him to tell us no and be like, great decision.
Good
Cat."
job, buddy. But he didn't. And instead,
So we convinced him it'd be funny.
I was preparing for the what are we drinking today? Are we drinking? Let's drink.
You want to?
Yeah. Let's
You
drink.
don't- I think we need to.
We're going to drink the house whiskey. But we only have,
Buffalo Trace.
we don't need this glass. You want me to pour you? Are you drinking today?
Yeah, I'll drink with you.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not the 1900 stuff, so he's good.
1792.
1792,
We
which,
killed that.
yeah, but we're not talking about that yet.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Oh.
We don't talk about Bruno.
We don't
You're
talk about Bruno.
right. So I'm preparing for a podcast, okay? First of all the things are not aligning right now. And it's just a part of this shit, man. A takeaway for everyone who's trying to do anything in life. There's going to be obstacles and it's going to be fucking hard. And it's mentally draining. Doing a podcast, surprisingly to some, it was surprising to me how hard this shit is. Because you've got to turn on. Okay, you've
Yeah,
got to be in a mood. You've got to have good energy. If not, then you start bringing shitty energy, and then all of a sudden, the world returns shitty energy. I'm going through some shit. I'm trying to figure all this stuff out. My wife there's a blizzard, and my wife is the only person in her entire area in the Army who's at work. They're not at work. They wouldn't dare go out on these roads, but her ass was at fucking work. And
Don't forget who did go out on the roads, though. to make this show happen today.
Because I don't care about your safety.
Our leadership.
I don't
Made
care
us
about
come
your
to work
safety.
today.
You didn't have to come.
We were happy to come to work. We had an adventure. The kids loved it.
You didn't have to come.
Literally, it was an adventure coming
You didn't have
here.
to come to work.
We wanted to.
Yeah.
We wanted to, man.
I wasn't leaving.
No, you weren't.
We could. You're the one who wanted to come to work. I'm trying to figure out how to get my mind switch over for the podcast. And then I'm thinking about all the shit we need to talk about.
There's a lot.
Ugh. The world is under attack. Our country is under attack. It is happening from within. It's happening from within our own country, from within our own communities. And as I sit there and think about this shit, I'm going, how in the fuck are we watching this happen, and how are people ignoring it? How are people pretending that it's not happening? Like, I guarantee right now there's a fire going on in Central Florida, evidently a 5-acre fire, which consists of burning plastic in Kissimmee, Florida, where my mother was traveling through today, by the way. I guarantee you there's going to be people that are just like, oh, it's just an accident. It's just a coincidence. There's no other way to say it anymore. And it's time you wake your brains up. Turn your fucking brain on and start thinking about this shit objectively. And start taking it for what it's worth at face value. Our infrastructure is being destroyed. Our supply chain has been destroyed. Our manufacturing plants, our food plants, our air is being polluted intentionally. The government is intentionally polluting our air while they shame us and lecture us for us being the cause of changing the whole ass climate. They are polluting the air. And everyone's just like, oh, it was just a train crash. Oh, it's just another manufacturing plant. Oh, the chickens there's an egg shortage.
There's always been derailments.
It's always been that way. I got into an argument a while, it had to have been a year ago, about food plants with some fucking idiot, asshole friend of mine on the internet who is totally pitched this whole thing. Guy's a lawyer. Has a whole presentation on how our food plants always catch on fire. And I'm like, okay, dude. They always catch on fire. You're right. You're right. In all of U.S. history, there's always been food shortages. Dumbass. No, there fucking hasn't. Okay? Look at the outcomes. Look at what the outcomes are.
Go buy a carton of eggs right now.
Right. Here's what
When have they ever cost that much?
I don't even know what to take of this. Meanwhile, I come downstairs
Uh-oh.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
while I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to turn my energy into positive energy. I come downstairs to my son being videoed by 2 grown-ass men saying, "Dad, where the fuck is my steak and eggs?" So it's just bad timing.
We can laugh about it now, right?
I mean, I let him out of his room. And I didn't beat him. Luckily. It was just bad timing.
Terrible timing.
And I don't...
We thought we were lightening the mood, and we made it worse.
I don't...
Dug it in.
Dude, I just went off on this. I don't understand how people don't see this anymore.
Because everybody looks at everything in a vacuum. Like, there's an event here, there's an event here, there's an event there. When really it's a culmination of events meant to overstimulate you so they can keep fucking doing it, and you're just looking different directions at different shit that's happening when it's most of it is all one big plan and all together for one common goal. But everybody looks at them as separate things. They're not separate. And when you start looking at it as a whole picture, then you will hopefully kind of start to realize that it's all calculated.
They're controlling the narrative. I mean, when they're using things as smoke screens, look over here, something happens over here. It's all controlled.
I said this earlier. The conspiracy theorist, okay, the radical conspiracy theorist, the wildly crazy right-wing radicals, okay, the fucking insurrectionists that we are, said this shit a year ago, more than a year ago. Wait until they tell us that we're being invaded by aliens. And even me, I sat there and went, there's no way that anyone would fucking believe that. Like if they tried to, because the conspiracy theory wasn't that we were actually going to be invaded by aliens. It was going to be that they're going to fucking launch this fake alien invasion as a massive cover-up for all the other shit that's happening. Okay? Like always. And I sit there and I say, how could anyone possibly believe that? Like, how would they ever do that? How could they launch that? Like, what does that really look like? I'm a visionary. I have no problem visualizing and mentally and through my imagination solving the problems to create even the wildest of scenarios. But I couldn't get my fucking head around this. And here we are.
And then they did it.
They're doing it. It's happening right now. Meanwhile, our food plants, our water is being polluted, our air is being intentionally polluted. The U.S. government is blowing up fucking pipelines and shit. And then what happens? They're calling balloons objects, and in press briefings, they're refusing to refer to them as anything other than an object because that would be a UFO. Meanwhile, there's fires going on fucking all over the place, derailments, all of the shit that they're accusing us of and have been accusing us of, they are currently doing. And they're telling us we're being attacked by aliens in the meantime. And I go, how could anyone possibly believe this? And then I'm reminded that the entire world believed that we were in a pandemic where a virus was going to kill off the whole population. They convinced the whole ass world to inject themselves with a DNA-altering test drug that is currently killing people. They have now made it a part of the, the regular vaccine.
Oh, yeah. To go to school, you mean?
To go to school, yeah.
And part of the reason it got added to that list is because then you can't come back and sue if something does happen.
Oh, it's a vicious cycle.
So any vaccine that's on that list is basically exempt from anything that happens after the fact.
That's not. You're not saying it's a requirement, though, right? When you say it's on the kids' shot, it's not on a kid's shot list for school, right? Meaning like they have to get this shot, or else they can't go to school.
I think that
I could find out for you.
Is probably
where it's going.
What the end game is for this. Meanwhile, okay, while you look it up, let's state the obvious. Okay, this Damar Hamlin guy, is that his name? Damar Hamlin? Is that how you say it?
Damar
sports.
Hamlin, yeah.
Okay, this guy falls one of many, one of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, presumably millions of people who are falling out and dying suddenly. Dying. Flat out, losing their shit, losing consciousness, falling out, and dying. Which is what happened to my father. Died suddenly. Look it up. Stephen Marchese died suddenly. You'll find his obituary. He's one of them. And nobody gives a shit. These people are being silenced. Did you see the interview with Michael Strahan, where the look of fear, the look of terror takes over this guy's soul when he is asked, what did the doctors say was the cause of your falling and dropping fucking dead on a football field? Which had nothing to do with the hit that he delivered. It was a weak-ass hit.
Yeah, it was below an average hit. It wasn't even a hit.
These guys are NFL
hit.
Right. These guys are the most physically fit human male specimens on the fucking planet.
And that's the way Strahan worded it.
Right.
Like, you are at the peak of your physical
Young.
fitness. What did the doctors say happened to you? So a couple things ran through my mind during that interview. One, why are you even taking the interview? You know that's going to be that's the main thing people want to know. What happened to you? And two, that answer was like more indicative than actually. You might as well have just told us, like, yeah, I took the vaccine and it fucking caused my heart to stop.
He can't.
You know? Exactly. I know he can't. But saying I don't really want to talk about it right now is the same fucking thing, dude, in my eyes. What is Pfizer, like one of the top 5?
Oh, I'm sure
endorsements
everything
for
is
the
brought
NFL?
to you by Pfizer. Of course. I wouldn't be surprised. I think I read something that they're top 5. I wouldn't be surprised if they're secretly the number 1 donor.
The Damar Hamlin thing, man, is just blowing my mind.
What's
100%.
mind-blowing is the fact that this dude was asked this question and his face went ghost. His eyeballs went blank. Fear overtook his body. You can see it. You can, watching the screen, you can feel the fact that he doesn't know what to say, what he's allowed to say, what could he say. Is he afraid he's going to get killed? What's he afraid of?
Right.
Okay, and why did he take the interview? He's probably told he had to take the interview. And why was he told he had to take the interview? Because these fuckers are sick. Because they're parading it in front of our faces. Because that's what they do. They parade his ass across the stage at the Super Bowl. They put Rihanna in a devil costume. They put that other fucking dude at the Grammys in a devil costume. They put our president in a devil costume with the red dark light. Why? Because it's demonic. And they're doing it right in front of our fucking faces. They're telling us they're doing it. The people out there who are denying that this is what is dropping fucking kids, young kids dead, old people, healthy people, pro athletes, the most healthy and physically fit people on the fucking planet. It's because they don't give a fuck. God damn it. I don't know what else to say other than stop injecting your children with test drugs, with any drugs. If it isn't life or death, God created us in his image. Stop trying to play God. Stop trying to control the weather. Stop trying to control everything. Let the world exist. And instead, they're parading it in front of us. It's demonic. It's psycho. And these people are sick and twisted. And I know it's scary. It's terrifying. Like, think of, like, I've said this before. I have close family members, people that I love more than anyone in the fucking world, that have taken this vaccine, multiple vaccines, boosters and shit. It's awful to talk about. But if we self-silence and self-censor and we allow other people to control our fucking reality because we don't want to talk about the hard shit, like, somebody explain why pro athletes, why comedians are in mid-comedy bit fainting and passing out, cracking their skulls. Somebody explain. How did Bob Saget die with a skull fracture? What is happening? But nobody will. Nobody wants to talk about it. Why? Because it's terrifying. Why? Because it's awful. And of course, if God forbid you're one of those parents who injected your children with this, I pray for you. It's got to be the hardest fucking thing you are dealing with right now. As a parent of sons and a daughter, young kids, it's got to be awful. It's got to be.
Another train was derailed in Michigan that was carrying hazardous materials. I've noticed it's in key battleground election states too: Ohio, Arizona, Michigan, Texas. Maybe a coincidence, maybe not. And then somebody else pointed I'm gonna have to research this, so maybe I don't even want to say
Dude,
it. But.
this shit is going to continue. Listen up, people. Wake the fuck up. It's going to continue.
So listen
it's
to
not
this.
going to stop.
Listen to this. So Tennessee Truth Seeker on Twitter put this out. So food for thought. The laws governing Agenda 2030 land development allow governments to seize polluted land and move their residents into smart cities. Important note, if the land plus water around you is completely poisoned, you don't get to opt out of the smart city modeling coming down the pike. So, and then somebody pointed 15-minute cities, which are already being sectioned and walled up in China. So basically they can take these people against their will and put them into
Smart cities, controlled environments.
Controlled environments.
100%.
Man.
I don't care if you are pro guns. I don't care how bad it gets. We as a nation, as people, need to make sure that we go to any length possible to not allow our government or any controlling body, any human, allow anyone to take away our Second Amendment right. Get your shit together. It's going to get worse. Nobody is coming to, like, obviously, who's going to save? Nobody's coming to save us. Get your household in order. I don't want to be an alarmist, and I don't want to sound crazy, and I don't want to scare the shit out of people, but at this point...
Dude, if you're living in Ohio right now in a polluted area and they come knock on your door and tell you you're coming with us based off of this, like, what the fuck do you do? Like, you...
Right.
If somebody came knocking on our door right now and said we have to go with them to a smart city because our water and air is polluted, like, that's a fucking scary proposition, bro.
I'm here to tell you, man. It's a scary world we're living in. We talk about it all the time on this show, trying to bring value and trying to help people understand, help people communicate, help people understand that we've got to band together. We cannot take the bait on the divide. Okay? Our organizations and our communities, yes, there's racism. Yes, there's bad people. Yes, there are sexists. Yes, there are, bigot. Yeah, all the shit that they say is running rampant throughout our communities and in our country. Of course they exist, but it is not
the majority.
Fuck no. It's not even close. I remember there was a commercial of this white dude and this black dude. It's like maybe it wasn't a commercial. I don't remember. It was like a thing. There was this white guy and this black guy who were sitting outside in their driveway, social distancing in the neighborhood, drinking beer together. And they said, like, they made this whole campaign, like Bud Light donated them, threw them like a Bud Light sponsored party. Brad Paisley like sent them swag and shit. They made like a whole big thing. They made a thing out of a white dude and a black dude coexisting in America, like as if it was some fucking foreign shit. What in the fuck kind of clown world are we living in? Where we are pretending that white people and black people don't fucking drink beer together until 2020. Like, stop it. Stop with the fucking posting shit on your profile picture with your all your purposes and all your reason for attaching to some fucking flag. One fucking nation, one fucking flag. It stands for everybody. That's the beautiful thing about it. Okay? It stands for fucking anti-racism. We have a fucking flag that stands for anti-racism. It's the American flag. We have a flag that stands for fucking gay people. It's the fucking American flag. Freedom to do whatever the fuck we want, and it's under attack. And if you don't see that at this point, like, look around. Like you said, go buy a carton of fucking eggs. Matter of fact, go get some chickens, then buy some chicken feed and see if you can get your own chicken to lay your own eggs. I've got friends who have chickens, who have had chickens for years and years and years. And that's another conspiracy that they know firsthand is taking place. The chickens are not laying eggs. Sounds like it's coming from the feed, I guess. Go figure. All of the fucking chicken feed comes from one place.
Right.
I don't even know, man. Right. I told you guys, I didn't even want to come on the show today because I don't even know what to make of all this anymore. People are dropping dead. Our school systems are indoctrinating our children. They're spinning a web telling us, that they're not.
What I think, Matt, like, regardless of how starting off, how you felt of whether or not you should even, I think stuff like this is good to hear because this is what needs to be done. Is people need to acknowledge what is going on and have the discussion, so then we can move on to the solution. Right? The problem is no one is acknowledging or identifying that there is something going on, and if no one's doing that, then they're sure as in the hell not having the discussion.
They're afraid.
Yes,
they're afraid, and I don't blame you. I don't blame you for being afraid. The shit is scary.
100%.
I don't blame you for being afraid. I understand that it's scary. I understand that it's hard to talk about. Believe me, I've said this before too. I love nothing more than talking about success and business and going on fucking trips and celebrating hard work and successes in life. Friendships. I mean, I say it at the beginning of every fucking show. My favorite shit, my purpose is whiskey, business, friends, family, and freedom. It's literally what fucking drives me. And it's my favorite shit to talk about, my favorite shit to do. Get together with my friends and have a glass of whiskey and talk about all the finer things and celebrate. But the reality is nobody, including me, wants to talk about this shit. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to worry about it. I want to worry about building my business and worry about how I'm going to build generational wealth for my family and how I'm going to build a fucking massive whiskey business and a massive ServPro business and a massive training business and a massive podcast and a massive lifestyle brand so I can help me and all my friends become successful, pass on fucking knowledge and success and work ethic and the understanding of how to grow something and be dedicated to something to my family. Like, that's what I want to do. And I shouldn't have to sit here and worry, is that future even a fucking option anymore? I shouldn't have to worry about investing in cows for the sake of being able to feed my family. I should be able to worry about investing in cattle for growing generational wealth and running a business and supporting my local economy and supporting local ranchers and local farmers. That's why I should. But instead, I'm worried about investing in cattle because our meat supply is under fucking attack. It's absolutely insane. It's a clown world. And if you don't see at this point, like you've got to start. We've got to start talking about it. It's awful. It's shitty. We've got to. I said this the other day. You just mentioned it. We can't in the IDS method of solving a problem, dude. There are people who haven't even fucking got to the eye. They're so brainwashed.
That's what I was saying, man. You can't have the discussion if people aren't even acknowledging, identifying that there is something. You can't have the discussion because there's nothing to talk about.
Listen to me. Clip this into a fucking short. Anyone who has ever, on my social media, on my text message, messaged me, DM'd me, commented on one of my fucking posts, and told me that I am crazy because I said that our food supply is under attack, that the pandemic was a fucking scam, that the vaccine doesn't work at all, that our economy was in grave danger, if you are one of those people who have ever messaged me in any way, shape, or form, I want you to message me today and tell me what's going on with our food supply, what's going on with the fucking vaccines, what's going on with COVID, which is gone now. It's over. You guys notice that?
Miracle.
Miracle. We, the president, declared the pandemic over. It's gone. We don't have to worry about it anymore. No more COVID tests. It's cool. Message me, okay? Call me. Text me. Matter of fact, you have an open fucking invitation to be the only person that comes on this show and explain yourself. You get to sit right where fucking Zach is, and you can explain to me how this fucking vaccine works, and you can make an ass clown of yourself in front of the whole fucking world. There is no explanation. And it's time. It's time that people start realizing, hey, I got it. You were fucking fooled. You were tricked. Our supply chain is under attack. Our rights are under attack. Yes, the vaccine didn't work. It didn't stop shit. It didn't slow the spread. It didn't stop shit. In fact, it's highly likely at this point that it's killing people. And we've only seen the beginning. Dude, when my dad died, this is tough. And it might be over the line, but I got to talk about it. My mom, he died suddenly. So I'm going to try and,
It's tough, man.
fuck. Give me a minute. All right.
Welcome back, buddy.
Thanks. Sorry.
Oh, don't.
Yeah, I know. It's I got to figure out how to fucking get through this. How I'm going to talk through this. But when my dad died, he died suddenly, as I mentioned. The day before, he was with my son with Cash. Out, they were doing like a pancake breakfast, feeding the homeless, bro. My dad had this little slingshot, one of those little three-wheel motorcycle deals.
Oh, yeah.
Driving around with my son early on. This was early on, going on 2 years ago soon. Died suddenly was not a fucking thing yet. And he woke up in the morning, and if I get the story straight, he was dazed. They called the ambulance. Ambulance came. They checked his vitals. Nothing wrong. And they were like, they asked my mom, does he drink? Does he do drugs? Totally confused. And they were going to leave. My mom was like, you're going to leave? You can't leave. This is not normal. Like, he couldn't even stand up. He did this. I can't stand. They had to run over and get a chair and sit under him, like all of the people that you watch who do that, who go, clunk. Someone caught him in a chair, rolled his ass on over. This is a guy who, the day before, was driving a fucking motorcycle with my son, feeding the homeless with his church, with his men's group, the Knights of Columbus. So they end up staying. They take him to the hospital to get him checked out. And he codes on they take him back to the MRI table to get an MRI, and he codes on the table. Dies suddenly. My mom, they did a COVID test. Why would the fuck would they do a COVID test on my dad? Who the fuck knows? Well, we know, because that's how the hospital gets money. Our money. Taxpayer money. For their fucking crimes against humanity. We paid for it. We did. Not the rich. The American taxpayers paid for this crimes against humanity. Anyhow, my mom was so worried and they were so COVID fear driven. They were so COVID had taken over, we're talking, like I said, almost 2 years ago. COVID had taken over people's fucking souls. They couldn't function in society without fear because it had been pumped so full of us that my mom was afraid that she didn't want to see those COVID results because she thought it was a possibility that COVID took my dad. And again, this was very early on where if someone like me who was saying things like, I wouldn't, and this is what I said to her, I don't know if she remembers it, but I know two of my brothers were there, remember it because I've talked to them about it. But my mom said, so I checked the stupid little fucking QR code shit link, tracker link they sent us to find out if my dad had COVID when he died. Because if he had COVID when he died, you know what they would have put on that fucking death certificate, right?
Oh, 100%.
They had no other explanation. My dad would have died from fucking COVID if he would have popped hot on that stupid little fucking test. And I told my mom, she said, oh, thank God, that it wasn't COVID-19. And I said, I would be more worried about that fucking vaccine killing him than, and I said it in like a fit of anger because I was mad. I knew, okay? And I knew in my soul that was what it was. I still know in my soul that that's what it was. Because there's no other fucking explanation. Okay, one of the number one cardiologist in the state of Florida for however many years, my dad's heart doctor, okay, got on the phone with me and my mom and they had all of his vitals, they had blood work, they had everything. No answer. Doctor, cardiologist says, Marilyn, all I can say is that God must have wanted him. The fucking official cause of my dad's death from his heart doctor is God wanted him. He went home. There's got to be another reason, Marilyn. There's got to be another reason. Blind. Fucking blind.
So what did they ever end up putting on his, do you know?
Yeah, I think it was encephalopathy.
Which is?
Like a rare blood disease or a tumor cause, like it made no sense, and that was what the doctor, Dr. Wilson, said on the phone. He was like, he mentioned like encephalitis, like it could be. They had no fucking idea.
They're just throwing darts at this point,
dude. And he told us that he was like, he literally, like I said, he told us my best guess. Like, wow. All I can say is that God must have wanted him. So when I sit here and I say, this is just the tip of the iceberg, okay? I don't give a shit if you're a virologist. I don't care if you're a pharmaceutical. None of that shit matters because you're all getting the information from the same place, which is creating a false fucking, a big lie. They're creating a web of confusion that makes things impossible to understand. Once you understand that you're not supposed to understand it, it all starts coming together like glue. Why doesn't this make sense? I see the meme and the hashtag make it make sense. No! Stop saying make it make sense. Start saying it's not supposed to fucking make sense. The reason why it doesn't make sense is because if it made sense, then the jig is up. Then they're busted. It doesn't make sense. Why doesn't it make sense? Because it's not supposed to. That's why they're controlling all of the information. That's why they're doing all of this. That's why they've spun this giant web so nobody can fucking understand it. So we can just sit there in fear. It's just the tip of the iceberg. They make up lies. Oh, if you took the vaccine, it should be in and out of your system in 90 days. No, the fuck it's not. No, it's not. It's in your system. I don't know how long it's in your system, but I can tell you right now, the unvaccinated aren't fucking dropping dead. I think it's worth mentioning. You got the vaccine. You've mentioned that on the show before.
Yep.
Your wife?
No.
You have any fear for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%, dude. Because a lot of the, like, sometimes these things aren't happening until months, years down the road. Like, yeah, it scares the shit out of me, man, if I'm being honest. Because I consider myself pretty healthy, you know.
My mother just confirmed encephalopathy and cardiopulmonary arrest. And then she said, I do not believe that. Cardiac arrest, man. What else do you fucking think kill? What you want to know the answer to Damar Hamlin's fucking doctor question? I got it. Encephalopathy and cardiac arrest. The same fucking thing that happened to every other person. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No. But also, that's a bullshit answer, because isn't that, like, immediate?
It's a bullshit answer.
Yeah.
It's all a bullshit answer.
That's frustrating, man.
You live with fear?
Yeah, it definitely scares me. Yeah, 100%.
What do you do about it?
Well, what can you do?
Fucking pray a lot.
Yeah, pray.
And you're doing it. You're on this
Continue to
podcast.
work out, be on the podcast, talk about it. Because I was one of the ones, like many others. There's many others just like me, dude, that were
Forced
against. Like, it was either in my thought process at the time. Obviously, now I would change that, but my thought process at the time was I get the vaccine or I don't get my retirement pension, and that was a scary proposition for me at the time.
Of course.
So, it was kind of the lesser of two evils, you know. I thought, but now, obviously,
two
the
things.
information's a little different at this point.
In hindsight, the information is different, but also they're not kicking you out anymore.
Right, exactly.
What do you know?
So now, not only would I have not got kicked out, but I also wouldn't be living in this fear I could just fucking pass out at any fucking second of my life, and it's scary, dude. 100%.
Yeah, I believe that, and I brought you up because, as I've said 12 times, 1,000 times, I don't want to incite fear. And I have people directly affected. My mother, my brothers, a couple of them, some of my best friends,
Right.
a lot of my very best friends that are fucking patriots. I don't want to incite fear. Okay, I don't want to drive fear in strangers. This isn't about me being right. I wish I was fucking wrong. I wish we were all wrong. If I had one fucking wish, it would be that every single thing that I think that came true or is currently coming true, I was wrong about. Because it's in my own fucking best interest to be wrong.
Right.
I'm not interested in being right on shit like this. And I don't want to incite fear. I don't want to scare the shit out of my family and out of my best friends who did this. But it's irresponsible at this point to not talk about it. Because they're still injecting children. They're putting it on the regular scheduled fucking vaccine list, which indicates they're going to make you get your kid. You want to go to school? You're going to have to get an exemption, or, which who knows if they're going to grant. You know, we'll see. They're granting them now. But how long will that last? Stop it. Stop the madness. I literally pray for the vaccinated. Literally. those who I know, those who I don't know. I don't want to be right, but it's looking more and more like we are right. I'm hopeful. That the human body will overpower and will outsmart for the majority of people. I'm optimistic on that, but not as long as we keep doing it. Not as long as we're getting another booster. Not as long as we're getting an annual dose of this shit. I'm not a fucking anti-vaxxer, dude. We talked about that on Dr. Tapper's episode. I'm far from an anti-vaxxer.
Anti-COVID vaxxer.
I am now.
Yeah,
I
dude.
can tell you one thing. There won't be another fucking injection into me or any of my family's bodies anymore.
I'm there with you.
Yep.
How can you not be? Like, truly, if you're listening to this and you're a pro, specifically a COVID vaccine, I want you to reach out to me and I want you to come and I want you to fucking explain it to me. I want you to explain to me why or how it's even worth the risk at this point. And back to your point, Ian, those people have not gotten to the I phase. They're so brainwashed and so slave-minded to where they just do whatever they're told. Yes. They're in a trance. It's like they're hypnotized in a trance to just do whatever they're Ukraine flag. I got my COVID vaccine. It's one thing after the next. And they have not even gotten to the point where they have identified, hey, maybe we got lied to. Maybe it's intentional, okay? Maybe they were just wrong. That could be the case. It doesn't have to be that there's some radical, wild conspiracy against, America and mankind to seek control. Maybe that's not the issue. Maybe they just got it wrong. Maybe they just fucked up. But either way, at some point we have to identify it. And the people who have identified it, who are silencing themselves because they don't want to admit it, I can see that being the case.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? Like, holy shit, I injected my 4 kids with this fucking drug. That's hard.
Yeah.
I got it for a lot of people. But the more silent you are, the more people are going to do it. And the more people that do it, the worse off we're going to be. We've got to move to the discussion phase and then ultimately solution, action items. Unfortunately, I think some of the action items, which I hate, is discussion in this case. Talking about it.
Yeah.
Discussion is an action item because there's so many people that haven't even gotten to the discussion phase or refuse to get there, to where this is one of the very few circumstances that I can even think of where discussing is the action item. When you go around your Christmas dinner and your Thanksgiving table, like, stop letting people say no politics at dinner. This isn't politics. They make it politics, so we stop talking about it.
It's our livelihoods.
This is our lives. It is literally the difference between life and death. If not, prove me wrong. Like, please prove me wrong that this is not life and death. And if it isn't, it's not going to hurt talking about it. Have a civil conversation. Say, hey, I'd like to talk about something. Because here's what happens in my wife's family. You say, hey, anyone want to talk about, and you guys know me, I am the fucking shit pot stirrer. If there's some shit to talk about, I'm talking about it. Hence the podcast. Hey, anyone want to talk about how pro athletes are just, fainting and dropping dead on the field? No? We don't want to talk about
No buyers for 500?
No one, no takers. Here's what they say. No politics at dinner.
And then you're like, okay, that's fine. I'm just going to eat this $6 deviled egg.
Yeah. Right.
How's that $6 deviled egg tasting?
No, it's because they don't want to ruin family time. Everyone wants to protect. If you bury your fucking head in the sand, nobody's coming to save you. It's going to get worse. I don't know. You want to talk about anything else before I wrap this fucking thing?
Wrap it, dude.
Here's the wrap for it. It's going to get worse, and nobody's coming to save you. It's time that we start taking individual and personal accountability for ourselves, our family, and our actions. Exercise your rights. You, as of now, have the right to use your voice. You still have the right to talk. You still have the right to fearlessly state your opinion. Be fearless about it. Take the uncomfortable conversation over the easy one, the easy avoidance. Nobody is going to do it for you. We've got to get talking about this. Don't let people tell you things like, well, I took the vaccine and my symptoms were less. I didn't die. Therefore, the vaccine worked for me, in my opinion. No, we're not talking about your opinion on shit. Okay? That is literally just a feeling that you have. There's proof otherwise. We don't need your opinions.
When you're fine, you're fine until you drop dead. You know what I mean? Like there. What's your argument that you're not dead? Like,
I took the vaccine and I'm still alive. Yep, so was my dad until he wasn't anymore. So was Damar Hamlin until he wasn't.
It took having a whole medical staff there within 10 seconds to save Damar Hamlin. Like, if your normal person doesn't have an ambulance right on your driveway waiting for you to randomly drop.
We're trying to wrap up, dude. We don't need to bring Damar Hamlin up again. CPR for 9 minutes on the field.
We're trying to wrap up. Here's the deal. Personal, we've been saying this since episode 1. Personal accountability. Take accountability and responsibility for your purposes, for your life, for your family, for your freedom. Take accountability and exercise them. Go get a gigantic deep freezer and buy a bunch of shit. Put it in there. If you waste them, buy it that you're going to eat anyway and keep your freezers full. Go buy a gun. Buy a couple guns. Buy a gun for you. Buy a gun for your wife. Buy a gun for your kids and buy ammunition for those guns. And then go to the shooting range and learn how to shoot them. Teach your kids how to shoot the guns, how to operate them, because it's a really good skill to know. You know who's doing it? China. Teaching their kids how to clean and operate weapons. It's a good skill to have, number one. And number two, it is a constitutionally protected fucking right. It is our obligation to do this. Protect your children. Protect your families. Get your shit and your household in order. Stack your money. Get yourself ready, because this shit isn't going to end. It's only going to continue to get worse. And unfortunately, the poor people are the ones who are going to suffer the worst. Get your shit together, and as we say on every episode, unless the ones I forget, find your purpose, serve your purpose, and protect your purpose, people. This is what we are talking about. Protect your purpose, people.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.